Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to MCubed. As always, I'm Schmook, and we are continuing our Star Wars journey of our Take It or Skip It, and we are on Episode 8, The Last Jedi. It's a pretty big topic within the Star Wars community, and I hope I can, give a little my opinion on it. Of course, it's non-spoilery, but let's get right into it. Alright, so Star Wars, The Last Jedi. Episode 8 within the entire saga. I thought it comes off a very strong 7th entry into the saga, but ultimately, was it a fulfilling experience for me? I'm gonna say no. Even though I did see the movie multiple times in theaters, because I'm like, okay, am I liking it more and more each time? Maybe. I just remember after watching it the first time, I'm just like, this was the movie I waited, 2 years to see. Had some of the most amazing trailers, honestly. But every time I left with like damn, is this really supposed to be like the middle entry of this new saga? Again, like with Empire Strikes Back, for example, like that's the second entry coming after A New Hope, and that was like, whoa, and it blew audiences' minds. In this movie, I will say, ultimately, is it fulfilling? And I'm gonna say no. I think one of the biggest problems with this movie, I think there's a lot of good stuff with this movie. I'll get into the acting within our second question of our format, but ultimately, the reason why I don't think it's a very fulfilling experience is because I think the writing is just very, very bad. Like some dialogue, I'm just like, okay, is this what like this character is gonna say to this character? I don't like how it's a very much so a bait and switch type of movie where it's like, oh, you think it's going one way and it's like, oh, nope. And I think that's fine to do that, but don't do it with like every major plot point within this movie. Like there's a certain scene with Finn at the end, which is like, oh, you think something's gonna happen, but then nope. There's a big scene with Snoke within the middle of the movie. It's like you think it's gonna go one way, but it goes another. And then of course there's the main plot line with the Resistance and the First Order with a character named Holdo, right? Yeah, who's played by, I can't remember her name, my apologies, but she's in Jurassic Park. She's famous for that. So between her and Poe Dameron, and I'm just like, like, why is it every major plot point like, oh, you think it's gonna go one way, and then it's like, nope. It's like, it's not creative. I'm sorry, Rian Johnson. Like, I think you've done some great stuff. Like, I love Looper. The episodes that you've written and directed of Breaking Bad, I think, are incredible. And I haven't seen the Knives Out or Glass Onion movies, hate to say, but I think this would be a fine movie if it just wasn't within the saga. Like, I think if Rian Johnson never touched this, it was just J.J. Abrams the whole way through, and they're like, oh, we like what Rian Johnson can do with science fiction, so like, let's give him a Star Wars movie that's not the main saga. So that's why it's not ultimately fulfilling for me, because I think how it deals with like legacy characters, specifically Luke Skywalker, is something I don't love. There's only one scene I truly adore, maybe two scenes I really like within the movie involving Luke Skywalker, one with Rey and one involving a friendly familiar face. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But besides that, when it comes to acting though, overall I think everyone does a stellar job. I think the acting is one of the strong suits of this movie, like no doubt. Like I think Adam Driver is remarkable as Ben Solo, Kylo Ren. I think this is the movie where I'm like, oh, okay, Kylo Ren is one of my favorite Star Wars characters now. Like, I think he's incredible in this movie. I think Rey does a good job with Daisy Ridley. I think John Boyega, I actually think, does a remarkable job. He's one of the best parts of this movie, even though his storyline is very rough for a good bit there. That goes with writing more so than the acting. I thought Oscar Isaac was okay. He had some, good moments. Carrie Fisher, I think she did very well. She's not in it too much. And then, of course, Mark Hamill. We were waiting years to finally hear what he has to say when Rey arrives on Ahch-To. I think this is one of his better performances within his career, but again, I just don't think it gives the character of Luke Skywalker justice, even though I think Mark Hamill did a phenomenal job with the material he was given. There's some scenes I'm like, oh, Mark, you're going off. It's kind of like with Dial of Destiny with Harrison Ford. I think that's one of his better performances. Same with Mark Hamill in this. Even though the movies aren't the best movies, right? Even though I think Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny is worth a watch, I'm going to say it now. I think this is a skip it when it comes to the entire Star Wars saga. Or, you know what? I'll say it's a ticket, but go in cautious. Because, one, it's a part of the Star Wars saga, so you should watch it. But also, if you're one of those people who are like, okay, this is just not canon, that's fine too. Like, you don't have to watch this movie. To me, I think it's ultimately 1 through 6, even though I enjoy Episode 7. I see that as the saga, because I think The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker completely diminished what George Lucas was doing and what he could have done, and just to make some money for Disney. That's all I think of it. So I'll say ultimately for me personally, I think it's a skip it, but I do think it's a fine movie with like beautiful special effects and like good acting, where I think it's a worthy watch, but more so if you're in a theater, because it looks good. But obviously it's not in theaters anymore, but that's what it is, guys. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out all the other videos within this Star Wars saga review. Yeah, and make sure to comment down below what your thoughts are on The Last Jedi, and I will catch y'all very soon. Bye bye.